Today, we're getting under the hood of mental health with Kyrstin, a Division I NCAA collegiate gymnast, entrepreneur, author, and trailblazer. She's the CEO of KJ Flips, LLC. When did you first realize that what you were feeling wasn't just stress or nerves, but something
It
deeper?
began in high school, my senior year in high school, but it started to get better. But then it came back my sophomore year in college. I would get in my head, I would feel jittery, queasy, overwhelmed, and even like before routines. It kept happening outside of competition, and I knew it wasn't just nerves. I knew it was something way, way more than that. To where I would question myself about my technique, whether if I was good enough, um, and whether if I could even keep pushing through, if I actually really just needed to take a step back.
Gymnastic teaches you to push through pain. How did that mindset affect the way you understood or ignored your anxiety?
So gymnastics teaches you to fight through everything. So I did that with anxiety as well. Instead of pausing, I pushed harder, which made me spiral more. And now I can definitely focus on my awareness and teach that same balance to the gymnasts I mentor. Really being able to be aware of how you feel can also teach you what triggers you, what you need from your coaches, and also what you need for yourself.
Can you describe what anxiety feels like in your body during training or competition? And in a way people who've never experienced it might understand.
My stomach starts to feel uneasy, my hands start to shake, my chest tightens, and my mind races. It literally feels like your body is ready, but your thoughts are already five mistakes ahead. So I will have to say, like during practice, I will wear my watch, and I literally have this app that tracks my mood. Like it'll tell me if I feel overwhelmed, it'll tell me if I'm doing great, it'll tell me to pay attention. Um, so it kind of goes back to that awareness part to really dial in and be aware of how you are inside and out.
Was there a moment when you realized you couldn't manage this alone? And what helped you finally ask for support?
When anxiety followed me into everyday practice, that's when I started therapy, check ins, and meditation, and began talking honestly with my trainer instead of pretending I was okay. So every morning, I would literally send a message to my trainer, like how many hours I slept, how my stress was, if if I've eaten, of course, and just kind of like giving her a day to day, update on how I am. So then we can come up with a plan like for practice that day. It made me feel better actually. It made me feel like that I wasn't alone. Um, because I felt like in my career I always had to figure it out by myself. Um, Even if my parents were involved, but I never really felt like I actually had a team. So that was different, and it helped me be more vulnerable because with my past experiences, I always had me to stay closed off. So I was really forced to open up about that because it was affecting my craft.
How did you talk to your coaches or teammates about your mental health? And what did you learn about vulnerability in that process?
I didn't talk to my teammates about it at all. Um, I still haven't really been too open about it because I just like keeping that to myself. Um, I once started giving updates and saying that I needed everything. And once I did that, I felt lighter. I learned vulnerability creates support and not judgment. And it's something that I know that I now know. Um, and now that I try to encourage as a mentor.
Did anxiety ever make you question who you were without gymnastics? And
Mhm.
how did you work through that identity shift?
Um, yes, it did. Uh, of course, I was defining myself only by performance, but my brain literally felt like it was just all over the place. I feel like I was losing myself. I feel like I didn't recognize myself. I felt like that I didn't know who I was. I still feel that way some days. Um, it is really, really, really hard. It is tough. Um, Sometimes in the morning, I literally have to text my trainer like, "Hey, I'm probably not going to be able to get treatment before practice because I'm trying to get myself together before I leave the house." So that's why I really try to practice whatever I learn in therapy, not only in practice, but also outside of practice. So then there can be some sort of balance.
What do people often get wrong about anxiety, especially in high achieving young women?
They think it's just being nervous. They think anxiety is just physical, mental, that is constant. But even when nothing is actually wrong, there can be anxiety. Um, it's weird. It seems like there's really, it's unpredictable sometimes, which makes you question yourself like, am I doing everything right? Why do I not see a change? I feel like it should be gone by now. It makes you have like so many questions, but it just goes back to you being patient and being kind to yourself.
What actually helps you when anxiety spikes?
Mm.
Not the advice people give, but what truly works for you.
Breathing, grounding, honest check ins, and communicating what I need in the moment instead of forcing myself through it because I did try to force myself through it. My sophomore year, I would, I kid you not, there's literally a trash can right next to, because we're on a podium. The trash can is right next to it. I would literally throw up before I would go for a vault. So, um, that's when I really, really started to pay attention. And that's when I kind of started to communicate with my trainer then, but and my physical therapist. And that's when I really started breathing before I went. And I also started mental choreography. So I would literally close my eyes and visualize how I would want to do something and strengthen my brain because it almost seems like your brain has a protecting mechanism. Like it wants to keep you safe, but sometimes your brain overdoes it. So sometimes you have to figure out how to flip the switch to also calm down your heart rate and your nerves and your jitters. And then you start to feel more confident in yourself and your ability. And then it'll let you know everything is okay. But also know that those feelings are normal and it happens. You just need to have patience.
If another young gymnast or her mother were listening right now and feeling scared, what would you want them to know?
You are not weak for struggling. Just started mentoring gymnasts 2 weeks ago. And even now, I see how powerful it is when athletes feel heard and supported early, which I am glad that my mom supported me. She has been my number one supporter, both my mom and my dad. But while my dad worked, my mom used to always take me to practice, whether if it was an hour and a half away, early mornings, tolls. She was always there. Um, and when I would come home and tell my mom and dad what was going on with teammates and coaches, my mom knew as a woman's perspective uh, how much that was actually putting a toll on me. Me being able to have an outlet and let everything out really, really helped me and to be able to push because I feel like keeping everything in it just builds up more anger. That's what creates anxiety and just stress, and that's the last thing you need because gymnastics is more mental than physical. Yes, it's a very physical, but if your mental is not right, mm-mm. Bad move.
How has living with anxiety changed the way you define strength, success, or winning today?
Strength isn't hiding anymore; it's showing up and asking for help, giving yourself grace and helping others feel safe to do the same. It's one of the reasons why I try to be as vulnerable as I can on my social media, trying to show the ups and downs because I never really saw that growing up. I always just thought like the biggest winners, they just had just one just straight path and everything was just perfect and they just kept winning, winning over and over and over and over. I never got to really see that struggle. So I always question myself, why the heck am I struggling? Why am I not perfect? So I try to show the best of both worlds
Mm.
because every single person's path is different. It's not perfect.
What are the top 3 to 5 tips you give to other young women?
Notice anxiety early, especially in practice. Talk to someone that you trust, which is very important. Um, Therapy, use of therapy tools in training and outside of training, and communicate what you need. That's number one. If that person is willing to listen, but if that person is not, find a person who will. And use your journey to lift others.